Hello, AP Psychology students, and welcome to Section 6 of Chapter 8 on memory. We're looking today, this is 8.6, on why we forget. I was going to tell you something there that was funny, and it slipped my mind. I don't know. Just kidding. So, we need to actually forget to effectively remember. Our brains, yes, they're limitless, but there's too much going on sometimes for our attention. And so, memory consolidation at night, our hippocampus prunes away a lot of the stuff that we don't need. Like, you don't need to know the color of the person sitting across the road from you, their shoes. You don't need to know that unless you're on trial or something. So, why we forget? Encoding failure. You didn't learn it properly. You didn't store it properly. You didn't associate it. You didn't use a mnemonic. You didn't chunk it. You didn't block distractions. You were playing a video game while trying to make a video for students because you're distracted because you love Star Wars. Is that a little too real? Yeah, okay. Retrieval, you just can't find it. It's there and I just can't think of it. It's somewhere, but you can't, you lost your way. And then going a little further, there's the decay theory that basically memories fade with time. They're not as sharp, especially without any cues, and so we just kind of lose memory a little bit. It doesn't work though. We're talking those are episodic memories, maybe factual memories, sometimes, but procedures like riding a bike. I mean, that's the analogy we use. That doesn't really go away. Maybe you're a little rusty at it, but you don't forget how to do things. Declarative memories, facts. If I ask you, what's the sixth element of the periodic table? I hope you know it's oxygen, right? Or is it carbon? I don't know. Science is weird to me. I can tell you anything about history. Replacement. And sometimes your days and your events become so tedious that you kind of do the same thing. And so new information kind of erases the old one, almost like when you used to record over a tape. You guys have no idea about that, do you? And so they did a study here where they had, this picture here where this car came out and maybe there was an accident. I don't remember because I didn't encode it properly. And there's a yield sign versus a stop sign, which changes what the car has to do. And so they kind of changed that. And by replacing the same picture, we're changing the sign. People are like, no, no, no. They saw the yield sign first, and then later saw the picture of the stop sign. They're like, no, no, I saw a stop sign because they replaced it. It was very similar, and that's what's going on. There's also a lot of times similar items of information interfere with previous memories. And so we have retroactive interference, which this gets confusing, is where new information prevents remembering previous information or previous ones. And then you have proactive interference, is where old memories impair the ability to make new ones. So this one, for instance, if I've ever taught siblings, if I have a new student and I've had their older brother or sister and I keep using the older brother or sister's name incorrectly, that's proactive interference. Now, if I have this new student that I really enjoy and I get to know, and then I see the old student and I can't remember their name because the new information is blocking it, so I call them the new name, that is retroactive interference. The way to remember this is actually the acronym, the mnemonic, PORN. Yay, use your porn for psychology, which means proactive, old information gets in the way of new, retroactive, new information gets in the way of old. When you're studying late at night, never mind, don't go there. Let's just move on. And then sometimes the most common type of forgetting is cue dependent. Like you kind of know it. You just need a little hint. You need a little something. Remember, in our 5 steps to a better memory, we want recall, but we'll take recognition. That's multiple choice. Hey, there's 4 choices. Hey, I recognize that one. That's the one. So we need some cues to access the information. There's even something called state-dependent forgetting, where you remember something when you're in the same mental or physical state. So maybe you were really, really angry when you learned the states and capitals. So when you take the test, you need to be really angry. Maybe smash your toe against the desk and be like, "Argh!" And then suddenly you'll be Hulk and remember everything. This is from the movie City Lights, in which the millionaire here befriends the little tramp, Charlie Chaplin's character, but he only remembers him if he's drunk. So in the movie, he forgets him when he's sober. When he drinks up, they're best friends. He loves him. He gives him a car at some point. And so that's state-dependent forgetting. Sometimes they're also called mood-congruent memories. You got to be really sad to remember certain things, or scared, and then it pops in your head. There's also context-dependent memory. There's also context-dependent forgetting. So you need it in context to remember. When people tell you a story like, the one guy, he was always annoying in math class. He wore the Charlie Brown shirt. Like, oh, the Charlie Brown shirt. I needed the context. I needed to know what was going on. So we learned separate materials while scuba diving. They had people. Now this sounds like this. I'm not gonna lie. This sounds like some researchers decided what would be the best way to study memory and go on vacation. So they had them learn things while they're scuba diving and lounging on the beach. And then it turns out it was easier to recall the information when they returned to the context. So they learned items while scuba diving, and then they quizzed them later on. They couldn't remember it. But as soon as they went scuba diving again, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Same with lounging on the beach. Who's designing these things? I want to go on those trips. I will go do that study. I will lounge on the beach and study nonsense syllables for you. Hire me. I'm available. Then we have Amnesia, which is fun for Hollywood. We have 50 First Dates here. It's great for stories. It's the loss of memory. And there's actually two types. There's retrograde, where you lose long-term memory from the start of a disorder, either a blow to the head, a traumatic event, something. From that point forward, you lose long-term memory. And then there's anterograde, where you can't make new memories. So retrograde, you get hit in the head, boom, I can't remember who I am, I can't remember anything back, but it's funny, they always remember how to walk and talk and do all their, their procedures. And then anterograde, I get bumped in the head and now I can't make any new memories, which if you've watched 50 First Dates, Forgetful Lucy here, she has anterograde amnesia because she has damage to the frontal lobe. Traumatic burying or repressing things, going back to Freud. Does that actually happen? It sounds really, really good. We can move on by repressing memories and we bury them deep down, and then maybe they cause anxiety in the unconscious mind later in life, and then by unlocking it and remember it, you move on. It doesn't happen. There's been some terrible, terrible events in world history. For instance, the Holocaust. There's not one single case of somebody repressing the memory of the Holocaust. In fact, when things happen really, really bad or terribly like that, it's not the problem you can't remember, it's that you can't forget. You can't stop thinking about it. And so many memory researchers reject the notion that we can repress it. Once again, it's from Freud, who's a fraud. Not one known case of repression from victims of the Holocaust. So kind of gives you an idea there. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know. We got one left in this chapter, and I hope you're doing well.